What's up, YouTube? Iron Death Gaming here, and holy crap, you're not going to believe what I just got today. So today, what I do at my job is I'm a commercial driver. As a local route driver, I drive an 8-hour route, doing about 320 miles each time I do the route. And today I actually did not have as many stops, so my route was actually cut by like 2 hours. So during my technical lunch break, because usually I only clock in at 7:30 in the morning, and then I don't clock out till I leave at 5 when I get back at the store around like 4:30 ish. But with company policy, I'm supposed to have at least a 30-minute lunch each time. So whenever my boss clocks me out for 30 minutes each time, so I was like, you know what, I'll just sit down and eat for 30 minutes. But this time instead, I decided that I will go to a gaming store that I recently just found out on the route. It's a town about 2.5 hours away from here, the opposite direction of our normal city that we go to. But this one that I go to is on my route. I go to it every single time. I know the town in the back of my hand at this point. I've been doing the route for like 7 months at this point. And recently just found out that there's a gaming store about a month ago. I've been wanting to go, but I haven't had enough time because usually I have a heavy load on my box truck. So this time, since I had not as many stops that it pretty much cut my route in half, I decided to actually go to the store, and holy crap, I actually got to talk to the owner. He's had that shop open since 2012, and he has a lot of good shit. Like, dude, he had a lot of Super Nintendo, original Nintendo, Game Boy, Game Boy Advance, PSP, PS1, PS2. Like, dude, even 360 and PS3. Like, it was crazy. We do have a lot of gaming stores in our state that have that, but usually they're expensive because they do the online eBay prices where shit's like 3 times the price of what it's normally supposed to go if you buy it, at a store physically. So, this is probably a game I'll probably play, but probably not as much not because of its value, but to me, it's just such a collector's gem at this point, especially because this game's been remastered twice. It came out, oh boy, trying to remember, the first remaster was, well, I guess I should show you, that way I can just tell you when it was. So, okay, so I got this at a good price, and I compared it to eBay prices, and dude, I got Pokemon Red on the original Game Boy. Like, that's fucking crazy. Only $55, and it came in the case. Like, and it's clean. The guy said he tested it. The battery still saves in the game. So I was like, well, that's cool. I don't have to change it. And he said if the battery ever goes out, I can just take it to him whenever I'm on my route, and he could always change the battery. And there's the game. Like, it's clean. And just for reassurance, just for you guys so you can see it, I will test it. I have my modified Game Boy that I modified, except the screen's cracked, but it still works because, it's an LED screen. So the glass on the screen doesn't even matter because it's not part of it. It's 2 separate pieces in this. It did have a skin. I just took the skin off because it was already annoying at this point, because I have to take the screen off, and the skin actually wraps around the black part of the screen, which is the glass. So I took it off because I'm going to fix it. I need to find my spare glass piece. But, just to try it out and make sure it saves, that way you guys can see it. We'll go ahead, pop it in. And I guess that way you guys can see it. See if it goes. Turns on, plays the sound. I'm not sure if you can hear it because, the Game Boy Advance, just like the old Game Boys, only had one speaker. It's not that loud. It's The Game Boy's literally at max volume. Hit continue. It looks like the guy started a new save. So that way we do this the right way. We'll leave the building and then we'll go ahead and save right there. Yes. Okay, so it said it's saved, so we'll go ahead and turn it off. Turn it on. Hit continue. And it does. The battery still saves. The battery still works. It's not dead yet. So as you saw, we went outside the building and then we saved outside the building and it actually worked. So that's amazing. So it's a perfectly good working Pokemon Red on the Game Boy. And because we're playing on the Advance, you know, there's color. And especially because it's the LED screen, so it lights up pretty good. The only thing is that this did not come with a manual. So it's just the game with the box. From what I saw on eBay, this is normally going like $100 to $150. If it had the manual, depending on the seller, because you know how crazy people get, depending on the seller, I saw that these with the manual are going between $300 to $1,000. And I was just like, man, I only paid $55 for this. I was like, that's fucking awesome. So definitely we'll go back to that store, probably get some more, add a collection. Apparently last Friday, he also had Pokemon Yellow. He had Yellow. But I didn't know he had it. The person that bought it actually told him that he was going to come back and get this one. The guy's like, hey man, if it sells, it sells. You know, this stuff goes by quick. And I saw it and I was like, dude, I've never had a copy of Pokemon Red. Growing up, when it got remastered in Gen 3, I had the Gen 3 version of Gen 1. I had Fire Red. When they pretty much redid the game, technically it was a port with, well, I mean, I guess it was redone. Everything was still the same in the game. I think the only difference was, correct me if I'm wrong, I think it was like one or two typings was just changed for Fire Red and Leaf Green. And the fact that you could trade between Gen 1 and Gen 3 with Ruby, Sapphire, and Emerald, because it was also a Game Boy Advance game. So you could have Gen 1 and Gen 3 Pokemon in the game if you use, you know, the Game Boy Link cable. But definitely going to check out that store. I'm actually trying to get a hold of a PSP at some point. Between me and my wife, we have like 25 consoles. Like, we have every Nintendo home console that's come out, from the original all the way to the Switch. And we have two Switches, one for me, one for her, obviously. Same thing with our Xboxes and PlayStations. We're on our, some point we'll get a second PS5, but we have one PS5 and a PS4 and an Xbox One X and an Xbox Series X. And then we have the Genesis. Pretty much every Nintendo handheld console besides the Game Boy Color and the DSi. We have an original Game Boy. It's in my shed and I have to fix it. That thing's been sitting in that shed for years, actually, because I forgot about it. Which, yeah, I know that's kind of a bad on my point right there. I got to fix it, so I'm going to have to get it fixed. So it's a non-working Game Boy original. Obviously, Game Boy Advance. I modified it too. Even has a rechargeable battery. An LED screen, and I even changed the buttons because, you know, didn't matter what color your Game Boy came. It came in, you know, the crappy or ugly gray buttons, so I put black ones on this one. It actually had a F-Zero skin, and this is the company. If you guys want to check out some of the mods for Game Boys, Game Boy Colors, and original Game Boys, and probably like... They also have SPs, modifications, and I think original DS. And maybe some modern, but yeah, this is the place I bought it for. Don't worry, this is not sponsored. I'm just letting you guys know this is where I went to get the battery and the screen, and I think the buttons I just bought on Amazon, which weren't the best. They kind of only click in that much. It does retract, but for some reason it stays almost all the way down. So something I've been dealing with. It doesn't matter. It's not that bad. But yeah, I also got a copy of Wii Sports over there, which I guess I could show you real quick. I believe it's the version that the Gen 1 Wii, which we do have, because Gen 1s have GameCube, but I also have a GameCube, which is also modified. I believe this is the version that came with the Gen 1 Wiis, because it's not in an actual case. And the gaming stores in our state are so insane that these are going like $50 to $80 at a store and to buy it physically. You go to Amazon and eBay, these things are going for more than $100. And that way you see how much I paid. I only paid 30 bucks. That's crazy. Same way with Pokemon Red. Only $55. Like, that's really good. But definitely that's what I was wanting to let you guys know. That was a crazy ass find. I'm actually happy to get it because growing up, technically, not to do a little pity party, but we didn't really grow up with a lot of money. I did have a Game Boy Advance back then. This is not the same one. I ended up buying this one because the other one, whenever I moved to the state I live in now, I had an old friend borrow my Game Boy Advance and all my Game Boy games with all my GameCube games. And with the value that everything is now, it's probably like $3,000-$4,000 worth of shit. And he never returned it for me. And this was before we moved. Like, we were like moving within a month. He's like, hey, can I borrow this stuff for like a week? Me being gullible, not thinking he, obviously he wasn't a true friend because he stole all that shit from me. So growing up now, I'm 28. And since I've been working retail jobs since 2013, working your ass off doing that shit for 10 years now. Yeah, I buy all my shit, not because I have a lot of money. It's just also, at the same time, we didn't really have the best childhood. So, I'm kind of reliving my childhood while, being a responsible adult, paying bills and all that shit. So, every now and then I'll spare like couple 20 bucks and stuff like that. And there's no way I was not going to buy this. Like, this is definitely a collector's piece I'm never getting rid of. Like, I'm probably going to play it for a while. I have a modified GameCube that isn't region locked between the United States and Japan. I guess I bought it on eBay for like $90 at the time. Not sure if some of you who probably like shop for these on eBay actually know what I'm talking about, but there's like a red button on the back of the GameCube, and when you press it, it changes between America and Japan. And I'm actually glad because the Game Boy player on the Japanese version is like 3 times cheaper. Like, you can buy the disc for like 20 bucks, even on eBay or Amazon, and the Game Boy player itself like $50 on eBay and stuff. And if you want to get the American version, yeah, good luck, because the Game Boy player itself is $50 and the disc is like $150 too. So I'm actually lucky that I found one of those GameCubes, and I decided just to be classic, and I just got the standard blue one that, looks a little purple. So I don't really play my modded Game Boy anymore, really. I just have it just to have it. Pretty much a collector's piece besides having to fix the screen now. And also original case, but because, I had to modify it, obviously I had to get an X-Acto knife and cut that. Anyway, that's pretty much it. I'll probably play it on the GameCube at some point on the Game Boy player. But yeah, I just wanted to share that I've got this crazy rare find. And I know it's not a rare game. It's just the fact that people don't want to get rid of them. And when they do, they want like 500 bucks for it, which, if it's in like perfect condition, brand new, somehow hasn't been touched since 1991 or whatever, whenever it came out. 1995, I guess. And it seems just as I thought from what I was looking on the forums after I bought it, and based off of the copies of eBay, this is the 1998 release of it, where I guess they re-released the game. and it doesn't have the holographic sticker, I guess. And also checked it out by making sure by the on the games, you know how they have like lettering, not where it says Game Boy, but like on the cartridge itself, the lettering that's on it. So I'm pretty sure it's an official 1998 copy of it, not the original 95, 96 one. It also even says 1998 on the box, so, and also with the pictures on it. But anyway, yeah, there's no way I wasn't buying this. Like, I saw it, I'm like, dude, if this is less than $100, I'll think about it. And then when I asked the owner, how much are you selling this for? And he looked at it and he's like, $55. I was like, dude, no fucking way. 55 bucks. I was like, buying it. Let's go. I'm buying it. And then I saw that he had Wii Sports, and I texted my wife. I was like, hey, they have Wii Sports and it's only 30 bucks. It's like, you know, we're in all these stores that we go to in the city we travel to, you know, for just a nice weekend. Yeah, $50 to $80, and then like over $100 on online. And I'm just like, dude, 30 bucks, I'm buying it right now. And the same thing with Wii Sports. Like, you probably can't see it, but it's legit like hardly scratched. Like, there's only one scratch on it, and the rest of it's like super clean. So it's in good condition. So like, this store is amazing. I'm definitely gonna go back. But yeah, I'm sorry, this video is already over 16 minutes long. I guess I'll end it here. But yeah, definitely wanted to share my experience when I took my lunch break, I guess, at my job while doing my route. Definitely gonna go back, get some more stuff at some point. And I'll probably take my wife there one of these days too. But until then, this is Iron Death Gaming signing out. Peace out, guys.